We are the Lizard Kings. We are taking over your world, puny earthlings. Look on our mighty works and despair. We are the Lizard Lords. Soon there will be a harvest. Beckett said, we declare him excommunicate, and anathema. We cast him into the outer darkness. We judge him damned with the devil and his fallen angels and all the reprobates, to eternal fire and everlasting pain. Bystanders. Bystanders are apathetic. Bystanders do nothing. Never be a bystander. Bystanders absolve themselves of responsibility. According to the bystander effect, the more people who are present at an incident, the less likely anyone is to step forward and do something. Bystanders diffuse responsibility. They take less personal responsible when others are around. But, given that, when do they ever take responsibility at all? Why would we believe that these people take any responsibility when no one is around, and nowhere can see them running away? Joseph Heller said, some men are born mediocre, some men achieve mediocrity, and some men have mediocrity thrust upon them. Joseph Heller said, it was miraculous. It was almost no trick at all, he saw, to turn vice into virtue and slander into truth, impotence into abstinence, arrogance into humility, plunder into philanthropy, thievery into honor, blasphemy into wisdom, brutality into patriotism, and sadism into justice. Anybody could do it, it required no brains at all. It merely required no character. That's what pathological narcissists do. Hate figures. Jonathan Franzen said, I have this mysterious effect on online discourse. I could comment on the weather today and someone is going to get into a towering snit online about it. The platforms actively reward irresponsible discourse. The kind of person who becomes a novelist is someone who takes years trying to get it right. The kind of person who tweets is someone who doesn't care about getting it right, and is willing to shoot from the hip under a space constraint that doesn't even allow a subordinate clause. So I have a kind of parochial aversion to the discourse. I've said so publicly and I've reaped a lot of hater-esque response. I think I am shockingly parochial. I care about the novel. People who write them, people who read them. That is who I consider my clan, my kin. I think they're a good bunch. People who read an entire novel, as opposed to someone who only reads somebody else's angry response to an excerpt forwarded by somebody who only read a little bit of the book. I think that people who give sustained attention to something let themselves have a full experience and then respond to it thoughtfully. I like that kind of person better. Franzen's experiences entirely reflect our own. Social media is nothing but a feeding frenzy, and a hate fest. It should be ended. It's a mental illness as a global technology. The sickness is the message. Things succeed only if they generate positive energy. As soon as too much internal squabbling begins, the energy turns negative and all enthusiasm drains away. Then it's time to move on. Successful movements sustain and grow their energy. They fight off all of the negative influences. They crush trolls and anomics. As soon as you have too many people rowing their own boats, it's game over. You can never succeed with a group of people who don't agree on what truth is. People with different truths and different paths to enlightenment and knowledge are all heading in different directions. They are not a unity, they are a disunity. They have no chance of forming a coherent army with a common objective and a united will. Some people can start off seeming quite useful, but if it turns out that they are self-indulgent, and want everything on their own terms, then they are actively obstructing progress and must be got rid of. In retrospect, we acted far too slowly against a whole number of people who corrupted and sabotaged online Illuminism. The reason for that was that we were getting on with our books, and simply weren't paying attention to the insidious, creepy actions of the saboteurs as they relentlessly pursued their own agendas. Bland, liberal ideas can never win. You have to grab people's hearts and souls. We can get nowhere with ineffectual liberals. Liberals are precisely the ones who sabotage radical movements, drain their energy, and kill off of all their momentum. Fuck the liberals. They are the worst of the lot. They are the actual army of degeneration. The virtue of fools. Francis Bacon said, silence is the virtue of fools. The world suffers from an epidemic of trolls, noisy fools who never learned to be silent. They don't have the one virtue they require above all others, to keep their ignorant, retarded mouths shut. Fighting the monsters. Nietzsche said, "Beware that, when fighting monsters, you yourself do not become a monster. On the contrary, become a monster, or be the monster's prey." Is the dragon slayer a worse monster than the dragon? How else did he defeat the monster without being a worse monster? Nietzsche said, "The most dangerous follower. The most dangerous follower is he whose defection would destroy the whole party, that is to say, the best follower. Always be wary of the best follower. There should be no followers at all, only rational supporters, committed to the success of the same cause." George Orwell gave the name "The Moon Under Water" to his ideal pup. Carl Jung said, "The healthy man does not torture others, generally it is the tortured who turn into torturers." Jung said, "Nobody, as long as he moves about among the chaotic currents of life, is without trouble." G.M. Trevelyan said, "Education has produced a vast population able to read but unable to distinguish what is worth reading." Stuart Chase said, "For those who believe, no proof is necessary. For those who don't believe, no proof is possible. For those who don't use reason, no rational proof is possible." You can't rationally persuade an irrationalist of anything rational.